This is a classroom of honeybees where the honeybees undergo a training program. The honeybees that are sitting inside the circuit board will operate like a digital sensor after completion of their training. They will be able to detect explosives and drugs inside the luggages. Thinking and understanding how a small creature like a honeybee can efficiently detect the explosives and drugs can be difficult to understand. And how do they send the signals to humans after the detection? It may sound unrealistic, but it is absolutely possible. Welcome to yet another video on Fact Center. The training starts with a honeycomb inside which a device is inserted and a bunch of honeybees are selected for the training program. After the selection of the honeybees are shifted to a laboratory and this is where their training begins. The honeybees are very violent once they come out of the capturing device and that is why they are kept inside a fridge for some time. The purpose of freezing the bees is to reduce their movements. After freezing, they are manually kept inside a harness. At this point of time, they won't be able to fly and their face is exposed. The bees are stored in the harness for 30 minutes so that they get adjusted to the new environment. Loading the bees into the harness is a time consuming process, so many laboratories make use of machines to complete this task. The honeybees are trained for the next 2 days, and this training session is the same type of training that is given to the dogs to identify the location of the explosives. The sniffing abilities of dogs and honeybees are very powerful. Both the creatures have the ability to smell from a long distance. The dogs are able to identify the location of the explosives because they have been trained to smell the explosives since their childhood. The dogs are trained in such a way that they are offered food only when they smell the explosives. The dogs are not given food unless they smell the explosives. Slowly and steadily, the dogs understand that they will be given food only when they smell the explosives. Using this psychology of the dogs makes it easier to detect explosives at the airports. Whenever the dogs detect the explosives inside the luggages, the dogs signal to their trainer by taking out their tongue and requesting for the food. And that is how they get their food in the form of a reward. Even if the luggage does not have any explosives, the dogs are supposed to smell the explosives which are given by the owner before they get their food. And now the question is, how do the honeybees do the same work? How do they signal the humans after detecting explosives and drugs? As we all know, honeybees are known for sucking the juice inside the flowers. Whenever they smell the flowers, they take out their tongues to suck the juice inside it. Their tongues work like a straw which can suck any type of liquids. Changing the habits of the bees of sucking the flowers is not a difficult job. When the bees that are tied to the harness are tired and exhausted, that is when the shortlisting is done. During the shortlisting, there is sweet water that is applied to the cotton bud and offered to the honeybees. The bees that are interested in sucking the sweet water will take out their tongues to taste it. This is the point when the bees are shortlisted and sent to the next phase of the training program. Now the shortlisted bees are allowed to smell the explosive vapor for 6 seconds. And during the last 3 seconds, the bees are allowed to suck the sweet water in the form of a reward. This process is carried on by an automated machine. Within a few hours of training, the bees are ready to perform the job. The bees clearly understand that they will be given food only when they smell the explosive vapor. So automatically after smelling the vapor, the bees will take out their tongue requesting for their food. This is the point when the bees have successfully completed their training and then they are moved to a separate container. The same type of training is given to the next batch of the honeybees. Let me tell you that the same type of training is given to detect the explosive powder and to detect the narcotics as well. But now the problem is the response that is given by the honeybees can only be seen through a microscope, so it is not possible to know their responses at airports and public places. So there should be a system which can identify the bees' responses with the help of a machine or a device. There can be several ways of detecting the responses. The first is video processing. The bees are tied to the harness and kept inside a monitoring device. The micro cameras that are installed inside the monitoring device can detect the bees' tendency to take out their tongues through AI processing. This signal will immediately display an alarm on the screen. The machine automatically offers food to the bees after every successful detection. Apart from the cameras, the bees' reaction can also be captured through an infrared light. The infrared lights are installed in such a way that it can detect and send responses whenever the bees are taking out their tongues. The infrared light dims whenever the bees take out their tongues. This is how the drugs and explosives are detected and a signal is appeared on the screens of the equipment. With the use of this technique, 36 honeybees are installed inside the handheld machine. This handheld machine is placed on the passenger's luggage for 6 seconds. If there is any type of drugs or explosives present in the luggage, then the alarm will be raised immediately. When we compare the sniffing abilities of honeybees and dogs, then there will be a lot of differences. The training that is given to the dogs will take few years and training the bees only takes a few hours. Not only that, but the cost of training the bees is comparatively lesser than training the dogs. Also, there are some cases where the use of sniffing dogs is not possible, like for detecting the landmines which are installed inside the Earth's surface. These landmines can sense even a small amount of weight and can lead to an explosion. So, it is understood that this job cannot be performed by the dogs. In these cases, the trained bees are left open and monitored through a drone. When the bees sense the smell of a landmine, they will gather at that specific location because they know that they will be getting their reward in the form of sweet water. The reaction of the bees is captured through the camera and then the experts reach the spot and reward the bees. The landmines are then disabled to prevent any damages. The trained dogs and honeybees are not only the creatures which have been used to detect the drugs and explosives, there are a lot of other animals and creatures which have been used for several military operations. The use of animals and creatures to detect the drugs and explosives have been very much useful. I hope you liked watching the video. Please make sure you like, subscribe and tap the bell icon, and thank you so much for watching.